Good morning, everybody. Hi, Bob. We're having some issues on opening Facebook. Problem is, but we're getting close. Still says the connection is unstable. Rob and Bob. Yeah, we're having some serious issues. I think my computer battery is very low. It's charging, and I think maybe that's why it's not letting it in or something. I don't know if the computer battery is an indication of what kind of bandwidth you're going to get. I don't know. It's definitely slow. Are you able to hear me clearly on YouTube? Because it seems like there's some sort of a lag. I'm trying to open up the Facebook page. It's just not letting me in. Oh, I'm getting close. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's like jamming my systems. I'm gonna shift you there and fight. Okay. Yeah, whatever. If I could just switch over to YouTube, I'd be safe right now. I can't see what's going on YouTube. My computer's like literally jamming. Oh, yeah. I think it's starting to think. Okay. Marty, even YouTube is not working properly. Rob and I, good morning. Okay, the comments are coming in. You keep freezing it. Wow, the comments are like flying in on YouTube now. Okay. What's going on with my computer right now? Okay, I think my battery is fighting for its life. I think that's what's happening. Because I'm at 0% on my battery. It was dead last night. Plugged it in and I went straight into social media. So I think that's what's going on. Okay, so I need to just give it some time to just think. And maybe I could get started. I'm gonna go very gentle treading here. I think that my computer's like, slow down, chill out, Rabbi. Can't walk that fast. I think that's what the computer's telling me right now. Anyways, I'm just gonna start off with this. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start off slowly right now. Give my computer a few seconds to catch up, okay? Okay, I see it got some juice. Okay. Getting there. See, my computer's getting a little juicy. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let my computer think and catch its breath. And I'm going to start off with Hayom Yom, and then I'm going to start the Facebook, okay? So whoever's with me here on YouTube, I want to say good morning. Let's see who's going on. Who's here? Marty Nop says, Gam Zulatova. I like that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Well said, Marty. Keith, shalom, good morning. And to you, Stephanie, and Elaine, and Ron, and Rob, and Marty, and Robin, and Marty, and Robert, and Bob. Okay, good. We are good. So I'm going to start with a quick Hayom Yom while we let the computer catch up. I think it needs to catch its breath. Okay. Okay, today's Yom Yom, and then we'll start learning on Facebook. Today's Yom Yom is the 20th day of Iyar. It's the 35th day of the Omer. And the Yom Yom tells us that there is no one for whom to pride oneself. We must toil strenuously. With patience and friendliness, we can prevail in all things with God's help. With a denigrating attitude towards others and inflating our own importance, we lose everything, God forbid. So basically, as long as you're obsessed with your ego, you're never going to go places. Your ego will be your greatest downfall, your nemesis. However, when you open your heart, break your ego, you open your heart to Hashem, that's when you will find the greatest blessing coming to you. Okay, Facebook is still not happy with me right now. How bad is it, folks, that Facebook is not on? I don't know. It's really weird. Okay, we're getting a little bit further, almost live. Oh! Okay. Almost ready. Oh, this is painful. Today's Thursday. It's May. What's today's date? May 15th. See if I can push this button and make it work. Let's see. I push live. Let's see what happens. Maybe we'll go live on Facebook, okay? I think we're starting. I think we're live. Okay. Bingo. Okay. Okay. Okay, very good. I see we are live on Facebook. We got Marty and Adam there. Good. I'm going to go back and start this class. Fire up this engine. Let's make it happen. Okay. Today is the 14th. And we're about to start. Okay, so good morning, everybody. Shalom, and welcome to Souls on Fire. Today's Torah study is dedicated in honor of the big birthday of our very special president. Mickey is our main man, Mickey Gottlieb, Meir Reuven Ben Avraham, who is turning 75 years old, 3/4 of a century this next week. He's actually dedicated the next week, Cookie dedicated the next week of Torah study all the way through to his birthday on May 20th as a lineup and a lead up to his big birthday celebration, which was supposed to be a very big, beautiful Shabbos here in Chabad of Palm Beach Gardens. However, due to the pandemic, the quarantine, we've switched over to dedicate this birthday instead of celebrating Mickey's birthday with a kiddush, we're celebrating Mickey's birthday with Torah study, and that's why today's Torah study and the mitzvahs and the blessings associated with the Torah study are dedicated to Mickey's blessings. And to tell you that in the last 28 days alone, we have studied Torah online with 2,825 individuals, and we've shared 31,590 minutes of Torah study. And that's only on YouTube. On Facebook, our daily Torah classes have reached 6,222 people, according to Facebook and YouTube statistics. So we are reaching more people than ever before. This is the silver lining in this quarantine. And therefore, all of those mitzvahs of today, all those Torah blessings and all that powerful light that's drawn to this world from the blessings of the Torah study are all being directed towards Mickey's birthday celebration, Mickey's merit, Mickey's bank account, his spiritual credits for blessings and success in the year ahead. Mickey, we wish you much love and success. A year of success in every possible endeavor. And thank you for being who you are and for all that you do for our beautiful community. If you would like to dedicate a day of Torah study, a week of Torah study, or a month of Torah study, you can do so online at jewishgardens.com/donate. That's jewishgardens.com/donate. Or you can call the office at 561-624-2223 to make a dedication of Torah study in honor of a birthday, an anniversary, or a yard site. If it's a yard site, we will be dedicating a special prayer at the end of each Torah session, a memorial prayer. Okay, today we're going to, so Mickey, l'chaim to you. We love you. Okay, today's what we're going to do today is another interesting angle of Torah study. We're going back to the gates of trust, but we're doing the gates of trust on fast forward in order to be able to start a whole new, very beautiful section. We're going to be talking about the reward of the world to come. It's a theme that we don't often discuss. We're going to be talking about why it is that the Torah tells us so very little about the rewards of the next world. Where's my book? I don't see my book. Oh, here it is. We're going to be talking today about a whole new angle of the gates of trust, which is the reward of the next world. Torah doesn't speak so much, at least not in the 5 books of Moses, about the rewards of the next world. No hints to you, Mickey, here, as we're talking about the world, the life, the world ahead, the next world. You're only, you're not even in your third of life. You're still in your second third of life. If life is 120 years, you're still in the second third of your life, and you're not even in the sunset period. So you're still going strong. But we're learning today the duties of the heart. What I'm going to do before we reach that section, I'm going to quickly just summarize the next 10 or 15 pages, just so that we have an element of consistency. And from there, we'll jump into more details on this whole new concept, which is the world to come, the reward of the world to come, and why we know so little about it from Torah. Okay? So if you have this book, The Duties of the Heart, from Feldheim Publishers. You don't have it, I encourage you to buy it. Go to Feldheim Publishers. You can buy it on ArtScroll. You can buy it on Feldheim Publishers. You can buy it on Amazon is what I meant. Or you can call the office here to buy a copy of the book. Call Ashley at 561-624-2223. It's a great book to have at home. We're starting today is on page 419. I'm not really going to be reading it inside, not much. We said that there are 7 general concerns for which we need to turn to God. And they are your personal health, your personal wealth, your relationship with the people around you, their health, their wealth, their well-being, your ability to support them. Those are the 3 of the 7 concerns of a person which he needs to turn to God, right? Then we said that number 4 and 5 are the number 4 and 5 is the duties of the heart, which relates to me, the mitzvahs that relate to myself. Number 5 relates to the mitzvahs that relate to other people. And number 6 and 7 relate to the rewards of the world to come, right? So all of that is what we need to turn to God for. Now, we're going to be talking about that in some detail right now, but again, I'm going to expedite through this very quickly, but based upon the feedback we've heard from members of this Torah study group, the scholars who have told me that they kind of get the concept, the doctrine of trust. And you can hear all the classes of Doctrine of Trust at jewishgardens.com/trust. That's so you can hear all the classes and go through them. They pretty much are comfortable with the idea. I'm not sure if you've assimilated that idea. Maybe we need a real farbrengen. Maybe it's time for a farbrengen to be able to assimilate the Doctrine of Trust into our lives, to take what we already understand and make it something that we actually feel, right? That's what a farbrengen is about. When you take Bina, comprehension, and you turn it into das, into realization. When you take an idea and you make it your own, you own this, you've got this, you feel this, you breathe this. That is what Chabad is. Chachma, Bina, das, idea, understanding, schlepped all the way down into realization, something which you live, breathe, eat, sleep, and live an idea. When it becomes yours, that's what we do at a Farbrengen. So if Warren is with us, I'm not sure if you are, Warren, but if you are, maybe it's time for us to schedule a Farbrengen to make this happen, to internalize this powerful doctrine of trust and make it something which we can really experience. Just on Facebook, I'd like to welcome Marty and Chana Siegelstein, who's probably there with Andy as well, because they are always together. Graciela and Adrian, good morning. To Miriam Lindner and Judy Schuster. To my mother-in-law, good morning, Boker Tov. All right, good. So let's go straight into an expedited express lane of the gates of trust. So the third element, and the third category which we need to turn to God for trust, for we need to rely on God, is concerning our own surroundings, other people. The manners relating to one's wife and children, household members and relatives, friends and enemies, intimates and acquaintances, those above him and those below him, among various classes of people. So, for example, what we're going to talk about right now is your relationship with your enemies, your relationship with your competitors. How stressed out do you need to be about your competitors? Okay, let's take a look at this. So, the way I have summarized this is as follows. You basically need to, when relating to those above him and those below him, among the various classes of people, the right way to rely on God is as follows. When the need arises to ask for something from someone above you, like somebody more powerful, a boss, or below him, like an employee, he should rely on God for it and regard the people as the means of securing it. So don't get stressed out that if you ask your boss for a raise, or if you ask an employee of yours to do something for you, it's not about the person. The person is merely the conduit for the blessing. So don't feel that you need to, I'm going to say it in Hebrew, lachnif. Lachnif is a very obnoxious word, which means to pander. That's a better translation, which means to, I think the way they say it in colloquial English is to kiss up to them. You don't need to kiss up to anybody. Because if you do kiss up to anybody, I don't know what's a nice way to say that? Where's Brandon? How do you say this nicely? To patronize. That's the word. To patronize. You don't need to patronize the person. Because if you are kissing up to them, then you're showing you believe that they have a power over you. Don't do that. And again, in the Gates of Trust, this 10th century scholar, Rabbi Dovid Vigler from Zaragoza, Spain, is so analytical in his analysis that he literally doesn't leave a stone unturned in our daily routine and our daily experience in being able to incorporate the level of trust in God. Okay? So Elaine tells me to be obsequious. Seriously? Is that the word, Elaine, to be obsequious? I don't even know what that means, but I'm assuming that it means to pander or to patronize. I'll take your word for it. You don't need to be obsequious to anybody else because they are mere conduits for the blessing. Just as one tills the soil and sows it as a means to his livelihood. You know, we were planting pineapples with our kids the other day. We're having so much fun in this quarantine. And I'm explaining to the kids how to be a Jewish farmer. First, you have to trust in God. And you have to know that the pineapple comes from God. But God wants me to get the pineapple through the earth. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the top of the pineapple in a certain way. We're going to plant it in the ground. We're going to water it. We're going to do whatever the pineapple needs. Not because the ground is giving us the pineapple, but because God wants the pineapple to come to us, the baby pineapples, through the medium of the earth. It was a beautiful experience with the kids farming. If God wishes to support him from it, the crops grow. They thrive and they flourish. And no thanks are due to the land for this. You don't go thank you to the earth for providing you with a crop. Only the Creator. If God does not wish to support him from it, the land yields no produce, or yields produce which suffers damage, and the land is not to blame. Now, if they do help you, then again, you see them only as conduits, as FedEx messengers to deliver the package to you, but you certainly don't need to be obsequious to your FedEx delivery guy. You need to be obsequious to the origin of the package, right? So too. So if your mother sends a beautiful package, you say thank you to your mother, not to the FedEx guy. We say thank you to the FedEx guy for delivering it, but you don't say thank you to the FedEx guy for delivering for the actual package. So too, when he asks one of them to do something, you should consider the ability of the weak to perform it, equal to that of the strong. Just immediate. And rely on God may be exalted for its achievement. If it is carried out by them, you should thank the Creator may be exalted and fulfilled his wishes, and also thank the one through whom it was carried out for his goodwill and for being the agent of the Creator's aid. So if it was carried out by your boss, so let's say your boss did give you the raise, or your employee did do what you needed him or her to do, then you say thank God, and then you also say thank you to the person who carried it out. Thank you for being the agent of God, right? You don't need to be arrogant about this, right? It is well known that the Creator brings about good only through the agency of the righteous. the Eibishter, God, chooses to send good news or good things through worthy people and bad news through unworthy people. And only rarely brings about loss through the righteous, as our sages of blessed memory said. Merit is brought about through meritorious individuals, and liability through unworthy individuals. And as scripture states, no evil will befall the righteous. So again, as long as you realize that they are merely conduits, you'll be okay. Now, if they don't deliver, what happens if they didn't deliver the goods? And this could be a doctor, it could be your lawyer, it could be the person that you invested with, it could be your anything, right? It could be all sorts of interesting people upon whom you are relying. And let's deliver the goods. That's the key here. You can't be angry with them because it's not about them. You can't kiss up to them, and you can't be angry with them because they're just conduits. What do you want from them? It's like the FedEx guy didn't deliver your package. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna shoot the messenger. I think there was a story in somewhere in the Midwest that somebody killed a postal worker for not delivering his stimulus check. Right? That's the federal stimulus check. What a tragic story. Why is the postal worker to blame? What the postal every morning picks up whatever was ready, delivers. Very nice. Why would you shoot the postal worker? It shows a fundamental misunderstanding of the origin of the federal stimulus check. God forbid to kill the postal worker, to shoot her or something. It was a terrible story. Let's not be as foolish as that. So anger is the key here. Not to be angry, because if you do get angry, it means that you think that this person has power over you. If his request is not carried out by him if his request is not carried out for him by any of them, you should not blame or attribute it to them negligence. But you should thank God for having chosen what was for his good, just like Marty and Rob were telling me this morning when we had our YouTube and Facebook connection issues. They said, Gam Zula Tova, don't blame Facebook. Don't blame your internet. Mickey wanted me to blame my bandwidth or the shul Wi-Fi. No, it means that Gam Zula Tova, this is what was meant to be. We weren't supposed to start time. We were supposed to start the delay. That's the bottom line. That's what we did, right? So I love your attitude, folks, right? You certainly internalize the message. He should also thank them in accordance with what he knows of their efforts to fulfill his request. You tried. Thank you for trying. Even if it was not carried out as he and they had wished. He should also conduct himself this way in his relations with his mates and friends and business associates, employees and partners. Similarly, if somebody asks you for a favor, when asked by someone higher or lower than himself, if somebody comes to me to do something, you should try to do it with all his heart, give it all you got, and focus mind on carrying it out, provided that he is able, and that the one who asked him is worthy of the effort. Remember, if the guy that asked you is not worthy, or maybe you're not worthy, then you probably won't get it done. You won't succeed. You'll try, but you won't succeed. Then he should put his trust in God for its accomplishment. You too, as the agent, should also pray to God to be worthy of the fulfillment of your labor. You know, King Solomon, when he built the temple, King Solomon was devastated. Why? Here they'd worked so hard. This is the culmination of hundreds of years of effort that Moses, already in the desert coming out of Egypt, had told the Jewish people right after the Torah was given on Mount Sinai in Shavuos, we're going to build a home for God in this world. And they built indeed the temporary sanctuary. We read about it in the Torah, the Mishkan. But it was only temporary until they came to Jerusalem, and David bought the field, the Geir and Aravna, the threshing floor of a man called Aravna, the Jebusite. And he conquered the city of Jerusalem and made the plans, and Solomon builds the temple. But as they're building the temple, the doors won't open. They can't enter. You know, it seems like God is not letting them in. Like God is not coming in. Crestfallen. So King Solomon says in the merit of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Sarah and Rivka and Rachel and Leah, in the merit of Moses and Aaron, open, let the presence of God rest upon us. Didn't happen. Now David was a very controversial figure. I'm sure you know this. King David had a lot of enemies, more than the hairs in my head, said King David, are the enemies of my life. People thought that he was a sinner until today. Some people think he was a sinner. The Talmud says anybody who says that King David was a sinner is making a mistake. Very righteous and holy man. At the end, King Solomon said, in the merits of David, my father, David, your servant. Let the doors lift up your heads and open the gateway to heaven. And that's when it happened. It was only when he mentioned King David that the divine presence came down to this world. And finally, after he died posthumously, everybody saw, the whole nation saw that David was truly righteous. And that's when King Solomon says, may the pleasantness of the Lord dwell upon the work of our hands. We've tried everything we can, but whether we succeed or not, whether the work of our hands is blessed, is endowed with the blessing of God, that God should actually dwell in the work of our hands, that is something which we pray to God, we trust in God for. So you do everything you can, but then you pray that God should bless the work of your hands. If God brings it about through his agency, if what you were asked to do will be successful or not. If God brings it about through his agency and uses him as an instrument for benefiting his fellow man, he should offer thanks for the privilege. But if after going through much trouble and effort, he's prevented from doing so, if he is unable and he's able to fulfill his neighbor's request, he should not blame himself and he should inform his friend that he tried his best. Remember, don't take it too seriously. So don't get angry with somebody else for failing to deliver the goods. They tried. It was out of their control. Don't pander or be obsequious to them because it's not in their control. And if you fail, don't take it too bad. If you failed, you tried your best, and God obviously didn't want it to achieve, right? I wanted to open Facebook on time today. I couldn't, right? I'm not going to beat myself up. It's just the way that God wanted it. Now, the last piece of it is about your enemies. What about your enemies? What about your enemies? What about your competitors in business or in, other kinds of enemies? Remember this principle, friends. Nobody can harm you. No one has any power over you whatsoever. And if you experience fear, it means that you don't trust. And if you don't trust, it means that you're repelling God's governance and God's presence from you. Remember what the Kotzker Rebbe said, where is God? Wherever we let him in. Fear is the ultimate repulsion of God's presence. Anxiety is the ultimate repulsion of God's presence. And trust is the lightning rod to bring it upon you. In matters relating to his enemies and those who are envious of him and who seek his harm, he should trust in the Creator may be exalted and bear their scorn. He should not pay them back in kind, but with kindness. Kill them with kindness. That's what the Torah tells us to do. And any favor that he can do for them, he should do, bearing in mind that his well-being and injury are in the hands of the Creator. May he be exalted. I got to tell you this beautiful story of Bruria, was one of the wisest women of the Talmud. Bruria was the wise wife of Rabbi Meir. I'm sure I said the story to you before, but it's such a good story. I got to say it again. Bruria was the wife of Rabbi Meir, the great Rabbi Meir, who had a bunch of neighbors that he couldn't stand, making his life miserable. He must have lived like in an HOA or something, to paint his roof, telling him to grow some flowers and to, pressure clean his driveway or something. Whatever. So he wanted to pray to God that they should die. That's how much they bothered him. Problem was, Bruria said, the Torah doesn't say that sinners should be removed from the earth. What it does say is that sins should be removed from the earth. Yitamu chataim min haaretz. Sins should be removed from the earth. It doesn't say tamu chotim, sinners from the earth. It doesn't say that. So it says, what should I do? Said Bruria to Rabbi Meir, don't pray that they should die. Pray that the sin should leave them. Pray that they should return, that they should repent. They should do teshuvah. And that's exactly what he did. And they became his friends. Right? So don't shoot the messenger. Should pray that the evil should cease, but the person themselves, they're not bad people, right? Your enemies are not bad, essentially. They're just agents. Apparently, God wanted you to suffer a little bit, right? He wanted you to have some problems, right? They are merely emissaries of God's intent, Pray to God, fix the root of the problem, and then they'll turn it around. If they do harm you, then know that it came from God. If they do successfully harm you, then know that it came from God. But don't shoot the messenger. When you reconcile with God, then your enemies will actually become your friends. Take a look at the words inside. If his enemies should cause him injury, he should judge them favorably and suspect himself and his deeds of having been previously evil in God's sight. He should plead before God. If you're struggling with your enemies, don't stress out about your enemies. Turn to God, the root of the problem, and ask him to forgive his sins. Remember, if Esther could do this in the Purim story. In the Purim story, if Esther sees that the Jewish people have a nemesis, have Haman and Achashverosh, what does she do? She fasts and fixes the root of the problem, and then everything follows suit, everything falls into place. Same thing if you have a competitor or somebody else at work that is bothering you, that is making your life miserable. Don't get lost in the klipa, in the facade, in the superficial part of the problem. Go to the root of the problem, which is your relationship with God. He should plead before God and ask him to forgive his sins. Then his enemies will become his friends. Wow. As the wise man said, King Solomon, when God is pleased with a man's ways, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Right? Even his enemies will be at peace with him. And that was a very beautiful little piece we learned over there. I'm going to go just a little bit further in the gates of trust, just to keep on expediting here. The fourth element of the things we need to trust in God in is in our own duties of the heart, and the mitzvahs that relate to ourselves. And the next level, number 5, is the duties that relate, the mitzvahs that relate to other people. So in the first, so what kind of relationship should you have with God when it comes to personal mitzvahs, like fasting and prayer and sukkah, building yourself a sukkah, or shaking the lulav, and your own tzitzis and your own Shabbat and festivals, avoiding sins, and all duties of the heart that affect no one else, but whose harm or benefit is limited to oneself to the exclusion of others. What kind of relationship, what kind of trust can you have in God when it comes to fulfilling your own mitzvah successfully? Remember that to fulfill a mitzvah, he tells us you need to have 3 things. You need to have the choice of the heart and mind to do the mitzvah, the intent and resolve to actually make it happen, to follow through, and then the effort to make it happen. So you need to have the choice, the intent, the choice, the resolve, and the effort. Right? All these 3 are in your own hands. They are not in the hands of God. How do we know this? Because before we're born, an angel brings a drop of, he brings a tipa srucha, the Talmud says. It's a drop of water, what becomes the embryo, pre-embryo, before God. And it says, the angel asks of God, what will be with this new being? Will he be rich or poor? Will he be smart or foolish? Will he be generous or tight-fisted? Will he be, all the various variables? But the one thing, Hakol b'yedei Shamayim, everything is predetermined by heaven. Everything. They even decide who's going to marry you. Bas Pliny LePliny, the daughter of so-and-so, will marry this one. They even decide your real estate transactions. Sadeh Pliny LePliny, Bayis Pliny LePliny, the field of so-and-so will be acquired by you, by this one. And the house of so-and-so will be acquired by this one. So they even decide, predetermine your real estate acquisitions, where you're going to live. You thought that you debated this with your husband, if you're going to move to Palm Beach Gardens. It was already decided before you were born. Where you're going to live, what you're going to buy, who you're going to marry. The one thing that's not predetermined is Hakol b'yedei Shamayim chutz, everything in the hands of heaven, except miyir Shamayim, except for the awe of heaven. Except for your relationship with God. What kind of relationship with God will you have? How frum will you be? How pious will you be? Saint or sinner, that is up to you. That is the only thing, by the way, that is up to you. That is the only thing we'll have freedom of choice. And we speak about this often, this idea. But here's a new kicker to the freedom of choice debate. The only place where you actually have freedom of choice, friends, is in your relationship with God. Everything else, you don't really have freedom of choice. You don't decide where you're going to invest the money. You don't decide who you're going to marry. That is not your choice. Even though you can decide to mess it up. If you decide not to invest or decide not to get married and be miserable, you probably can decide that. As is clearly evident, some people die never marrying, right? But the message here is that which mitzvahs you're going to fulfill, which personal duties of the heart you're going to do, don't turn to God for that. That's a waste of energy. Why would you turn to God, trust in God that you will fulfill the mitzvah of tefillin today? No. Whether you fulfill the mitzvah of tefillin today depends on you. Do you have the choice to do so, the resolve to make it happen, and the effort to make it happen? Right? Sometimes you need to pick yourself up and drive yourself to shul to make it happen. Right? You can't just trust in God that that's going to happen, because that was given over to you. In regard to what is not hidden or removed from us, such as the choice, service, or transgression, and intent and resolve to carry out what one has chosen, relying on bodies would be erroneous and foolish. As it is written, choose life. The Torah says, choose life. I'm asking you to choose life, but but it's your choice. Clearly, we have the freedom of choice as exhibited in the Torah, but that's in Deuteronomy 30:19. The carrying out of the intended act of service or transgression, he did not leave to us, but made it external means that are sometimes present and at other times are unavailable. So where it actually happens, that part is in the hands of God. So your intent, your choice, intent, and effort to do the mitzvah, that is in your own hands. But whether your actions actually come through, that is indeed in the hands of God. And it's appropriate to trust in God to strengthen your resolve that your actions actually deliver the good successfully. I can want to lay tefillin today. I can choose to resolve to make it happen and invest the effort. But you know what? Sometimes things out of my control might happen. And if that is indeed the case, that is the part where you need to trust in God and say, God, I'm going to do everything I can. But if you get thrown into jail today, God forbid, or if you get stranded somewhere, in an airport, on an airplane, your tefillin get checked in to an airline going to Siberia, then you might not be able to lay tefillin. It might be out of your control. And that's the part where you should trust in God in the actual completion of the act of the mitzvah, right? There's one final point here to share, which is the difference between trusting in God in our secular affairs and our relationship with God in our religious affairs. You see, when it comes to our secular affairs, we don't know which God wants us to do or not, right? We don't know which actions God really wants us to invest in, or we have to trust in God in the act itself. That the act itself should be the right one. Like when it comes to making a living, for example, we don't know which tool, which effort, which job will bring us the best thing that we need. So we need to rely on God for the act itself, that the act itself should be successful. But when it comes to mitzvah, we know that the act itself is exactly the act that God wants us to do, because God told us in the Torah to lay tefillin, to build a sukkah, to eat matzah, fast and pray, right? So when it comes to the personal mitzvah, you know the action is exactly the action that God wants you to do, so you don't need to trust in God to bless your action itself. But when it comes to making a living, for example, to a secular endeavor, you don't know which action is the one that God is going to bless you, is the one that God wants you to do, because you don't know this doctor or that doctor, this investment and that investment. So you need to trust in God that your effort itself will be blessed. And that's an interesting point to ponder about the difference between our secular affairs and our religious affairs. So that really concludes the fourth. We did today 2 of the 7 concerns with which you need to turn to God. Our relationship with other people, enemies and competitors and friends, and we spoke about the personal duties of the heart. Then there's the next thing is the next thing, which I'm going to say for next week, is the duties of the heart relating to other people. And then we're going to get into that part which I started telling you about, which is the part I was telling you about, which is the blessings, our relationship with God in the next world, right? Which is going to be really interesting stuff. I'm excited to learn that with you next week. God willing, we'll do it on Monday, I believe. because tomorrow morning, we're about to do right now meditation and prayer, so don't go away. We're going to carry on with some fascinating stuff about meditation and prayer. But tomorrow, God willing, we are going to be doing a new, a next segment in halacha, in law. Again, the scholars of this group requested that we spend more time studying Jewish law. So we finished the laws of food, and we're studying tomorrow the laws of prayer. So that's going to be tomorrow morning. We're going to be doing it on Facebook and YouTube and on Zoom at 8:30. But today, right now, we're going to carry on with the next segment of the Shema. So, we're learning now the meditation and prayer course. We're continuing with the Shema. We learned the first paragraph, the first line, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. And the third line, which was, and these words which I'm commanding you today shall be upon your heart. And now we're learning the fourth line of the Shema. The purpose of this course, remember, is to be able to read, understand, and meditate on Hebrew through our simple but consistent method of the Hebrew word diary. Every time we come across a word which is an important word, we're going to understand the word, we're going to read the word, understand it, and we're going to learn its meditation so that you write, so that when you see that word, it's part of your lexicon. You know that word as if it were English. You don't need to kvetch for the rest of your days. But I didn't go to Hebrew school, but I'm not the rabbi's son, but I don't speak Hebrew. Therefore, my prayer can't be a spiritual experience. By taking this through a step-by-step process, we are spiritualizing our prayer experience and making it deep and relatable, meditative, and meaningful. You can find all the previous classes of the series in our website at jewishgardens.com/spiritual. That's jewishgardens.com/spiritual. If you missed any of the previous classes of the previous 27 words that we've learned in our Hebrew word diaries, right? 27 words. Our goal is to reach 100 words because, friends, by the time we hit 100 words, you are going to be proficient in Hebrew. You will be able to communicate in Hebrew. You'll be able to talk conversational Hebrew. You'll be able to pray in a meaningful manner, in a way that's spiritual. So now we're carrying on with the Shema, the fourth sentence of the Shema. Once again, by the way, today's Torah study is dedicated to our dear president, Mickey Gottlieb, who is a pillar in our community. We've known him from the very, 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 very beginning, the second day, as Mickey likes to say, the second day of Rosh Hashanah of our first year. Mickey is pillar of the community, and it's his 75th birthday next week, and we're so grateful to celebrate with him. Thank you, Mickey, for dedicating. Thank you for dedicating this week for study through to your 75th birthday. Meir Ovin ben Avraham, we wish you a hearty l'chaim for health and happiness. Okay, so the next word in the Shema is V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam. I got to find a way to put the sentence on the screen. But if you have the Shema, I don't know how to find this for you guys. My technical support isn't the best. How can I give you the Shema? Because I can't really share a screen on YouTube or Facebook, but I'm sure if you can open up a Shema, I'm assuming you have this book. I hope that you have a prayer book at home. If you don't have a prayer book, friends, you should buy a prayer book. That's the bottom line. You have a prayer book. At home should have holy books. Somebody is moving house yesterday. He asked me if I could take all of his books. I said, please, why would I want your books, but why would I take your books? You need to have holy books in your house. So please, if you could buy this book, you can buy it from the shul office here. Ashley will gladly arrange it for you. You can buy it by calling the shul office at 561-624-2223. That's 561-624-2223. This is a prayer book, and you'll find it on page 42 of the prayer book. Okay, that's where we are. We're in 42 of the prayer book. It's the Shema Yisrael, which is the essence of our prayers, right? That's what we do in the first paragraph of the Shema. Now we're up to the middle line, the fourth sentence of the Shema. It goes like this: V'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam. The word the meaning of the whole sentence is you shall teach them thoroughly to your children. You shall speak of them when you sit in your house and when you walk on the road, when you lie down and when you rise. The first word that we're learning today is the word V'shinantam. I'm going to spell it out for you so you'll know how to read this word. Here it is. It's not such a frequent word, but it's a good word. So the first letter of the word is Shin. The root is Shin Nun Nun. Shin, which if the dot is on the right, it's a she, because she is always right. And if the dot is on the left, it's a sin, like an S. Dot on the right is SH, she is always right. If the dot is on the left, it's a sin. It's a sin not to listen to your wife. That's the shin letter, right? The nun here is the second letter. It's the nun which has a flat heel, no heels, as opposed to the gimel, which is a very glamorous letter. The gimel's got a nice heel on it, looks very glamorous. That's the gimel. But if it has a flat, then it's not glamorous. It's just a nun. Flat for nun has no heel. No heel spells a nun. Now, when the nun is at the end of a word, it becomes changed. It becomes an end letter. 5 letters in the Hebrew alphabet change their form at the end of a word, just like in English, where all letters change their form at the beginning of a sentence. Capital letters in English is something we're all familiar with. In Hebrew, there are no capital letters at the beginning of a word or a sentence, but there are 5 letters that change their form at the end of a sentence, at end of a word, and that is what happens to the nun when it goes to the end of a word. A final nun at the end of any word will just kick its leg out and go below the line like that. And that's why we have the word shanen. The word here is shanen, the shanen. The meaning of this word is to review. That's it. Very simple, not very profound. The meaning of the word is to review, is to study something thoroughly. I believe that it's related to the word shen. Shen, which means a tooth. This is how I picture it in my mind. It means a tooth. Why do we connect this with the word tooth? Because you gotta break your teeth over it. When you break your teeth over something, it becomes thoroughly yours. You know, you're supposed to study Torah 100 times. Actually, 100 times. In the ancient days, before things were written down, they would study everything 100 times over. So that's the meditation here. When you think about thorough review, it's something which you literally have to break your teeth over. You have to sharpen your teeth, right? To incorporate, to assimilate something into your consciousness. It's not something you can do once or twice or 3 times. You've got to study it over and over and over again. I always say when I study the Rebbe's discourses that they're so profound and deep that it's only after the 7th time of studying something from the Rebbe that I begin to understand the problems. I begin to understand the questions. How much more times do I need to begin to understand the answers, right? So that's the profundity of the meditation of the word vishinantam, which the 3-letter root is shin nun nun, which means to review. The meditation is that it's connected to the word shen or shinayim, which means teeth, because you literally have to break your teeth over something in order to make it yours, to make it your own. The next word, and now by the way, before I get to the next word, I want to say that the root in Hebrew is always going to have stuff before and after, like vav before a word, the letter vav at the beginning of a word. Here it is. The letter vav actually is a word. The word letter vav at the beginning of a word is a preposition, which means and. So when you see the letter and, right? So when you say ve shinan, it means and you shall review. The last 2 letters, tam, taf, and mem, is just a plural form of the word. So, and you shall review them. And you plural shall review. That's what it means. And you plural shall review. So again, I don't want to get too technical. We're studying the roots. We're studying the basic Hebrew word diaries here. The word number 28 that we're adding to our Hebrew word diaries now is this word, shin nun nun. We're doing a meditation and prayer course if you just joined us. I see Marty posted page 142. Yes, Marty, it is also on page 142. You'll find, I was talking about page 42, but it also is on page 142. The Shema appears many times through the Siddur because it's a fundamental prayer. So if you just joined us, we're studying the Shema Yisrael. We're learning how to read, understand, and meditate the Shema Yisrael. We're up to the 4th line of the Shema, Vishinantam. We just finished the word Vishinantam, which means then you shall thoroughly review. The next word is an interesting word, very, very popular word. Levanecha means to your sons, or to your children. That's the next word, levanecha. It comes from the word ben. The bet, if it's a button, it's a V. If it is vacant of the button, then it's a V. Bet. Right, that's a B sound. So in Hebrew, these are sister letters. If it has a dot, then if it's got a button, then you pronounce it as a B. If it doesn't have a button, then it's vacant, then you pronounce it as a V. And the second letter of this root, it's only a 2-letter root, is a nun. Now you'll recognize this from the previous word. The final nun. It's not a regular nun. It's not a regular nun like this. it's at the end of the word, so it kicks down its leg. It goes beneath the line and it becomes a final nun. That's how you have the word ben. Now, ben is a very, very, very common word in Hebrew because anybody who doesn't even speak Hebrew knows this word, because when you get an Aliyah Torah, when you do anything holy, you always know your name is Moshe, like your Mickey's birthday today, right? Meir Reuven ben Avraham, right? Meir Reuven ben Avraham, the son of. So the word ben means a son. Right now, we're gonna see many different forms of this word right now. Okay? The word ben means a son, and you'll see that when you're praying for someone's health, you'll say it's Shoshana, or that's a woman's name, but let's say Aharon ben Eliezer, right? Aharon ben Eliezer, Aharon the son of Eliezer. The word ben means a son, and therefore, when I want to talk to my son, I say Shalom ben, right? Hello, son, right? Ben means son, as opposed to the word bat, which means a daughter. That's why for a woman, you wouldn't say Shoshana ben Leah or Shoshana ben Yaakov. You'll say Shoshana bat Yaakov, right? But that's not the word we're dealing with right now. We're learning the word ben. Ben means a son. And that's why you'll see that this word comes up very, very often. It doesn't just mean a son of something. It also means like a member of, just like a son is a part of your family. Whenever you use the word ben, it means like a member of. That's why you'll see, how do you say the people of Israel? How do you say the people of Israel? Anybody know this? Any of our YouTube or Facebook people, how do you say the people of Israel in Hebrew? You'll notice that it is Bnei Yisrael, the sons of Israel. That's right, Elaine, the sons of Israel, Bnei Yisrael, which means not just the sons of Israel, it means the members of Israel, Bnei Yisrael, right? We speak about each Jew as a Bnei Avraham, Yitzchak, of the sons of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? So when we say we're Bnei Yisrael, we're a part of something called Israel. As a human being, how do you say human being in Hebrew? Human being is Ben Adam. What does Ben Adam mean? We can translate this by now. Adam, what's Adam? Adam is Adam. Adam is the first person who ever lived. Ben Adam means son of Adam. That's how you say human being in Hebrew. In our mere language of saying human, we're referring to God, because Adam was created by God in the Bible, and therefore the very basic Hebrew language is infused with faith, is permeated with the belief in God's creating the world in 6 days, 7 days. Ben Adam is how you say a human being, because we're the son of Adam. When someone is frequently at your home, you'll call them a Ben Bayit. Bayit is a very famous word. Bayit is a house, but a Ben Bayit is someone. Hey, he's Ben Bayit. He's a part of my household. He's a son of my house. Obviously, he's not a son of my house, but he is a member of my house. So the word Ben means belonging to, basically. When you say, literally, it means son of, but on a more wider scale, it means a member of, right? Like say member of the community, you'll say B'nei Keilah. Well, you might say a different word slightly, but let's move this on. So who is the Messiah? We call him Ben David, right? The Messiah is the son of David. Is the son of David, Mashiach Ben David, right? We speak of him as Ben David, the son of David. Your spouse. What is your spouse? Interesting word. How do you say spouse in Hebrew? Ben Zug. Zug means a couple. A Ben Zug is like a member of my couple. A member of my couple. That's a Ben Zug, right? That's an interesting way to call your spouse, but it is. Thank you, Zeph. Thank you so much, my love. This is my Ben just gave me something. So a Ben Zug is a member of my couple. The last of the tribes of Israel, Benjamin. Why was he called Benjamin? Benjamin Netanyahu. Why was he called Benjamin? Because when Rachel was giving birth to her youngest son, first she gave birth to Joseph. When she gave birth to Benjamin, she was dying in childbirth. It was a pathetic story. As she was dying in childbirth, She has this debate with her husband, with Yaakov. You'd think that she found a good time to argue about something. I spoke about this before, but basically, she was blaming her death on herself. He was blaming her death on himself. It's a long story, but what basically happened was, that Rachel stolen the idols of her father, of Lavan. And Lavan came looking for them. So Jacob was frustrated, and he didn't know that she had stolen them. He said, whoever stole your idols, nobody stole them, but if anybody stole them from amongst my people, they should die. That's what Jacob's frustration. Now, he didn't know that was effectively a curse on his wife because she stole them. And indeed, she died as a result of that. So she said, Ben-Oni. She wanted to call her son Benoni, like Benoni, which is a town that I grew up in, Benoni, in South Africa. Nice name. Benoni means the middle Jew, like a middle-level person, an ordinary person, Benoni. So she wanted to call him Benoni, which means the son of my corruption, because I stole from my father. It's my fault because I stole from my father. That's why I'm dying. And he said, no, it's not your fault. How romantic. He says, it's my fault because you're dying because of my impulsive oath that I swore whoever stole your idols will die. So it was my impulsiveness that caused your death. And that's why he called the son Ben-Yamin, Yamin, which means a right hand, symbolic of an oath which you make with your right hand. He called Ben-Yamin the son of my right hand because it was my oath that caused you to die. And that's why this kid is going to be called Benjamin. So again, we see the word Ben means son of an oath, like a member of an oath. He's born out of my oath or born out of my corruption. The word Ben is a fundamental word in Hebrew, which is word number 29 in our Hebrew word diaries. Ben, which means a son. And you see it comes up all the time. When somebody is on death row, you call him a Ben Mavet. Ben Mavet, which means the son of death. He's like a member of death already. Or when somebody's a hostage, right? You call him a Ben Aruba. Aruba means captivity. Ben Aruba means a son of captivity. He's a hostage. Now, the last thing I want to share with you on this point is a meditation, quick meditation, beautiful meditation. If you know Gematria is numerics, numerology, where in Hebrew, every letter is actually a mathematical value as well. So Aleph is the first letter. It's the numerical value of 1. Bet is the second letter, has the numerical value of 2. Gimel, the third letter, has 3 value, and so on and so forth. So you can work out numerology like this. Like my name is David, right? David is Daled Vav Daled, which is 4 plus 6 plus 4. So the numerical value of the word David is 14. You can play with this stuff. There's things you can do. But anyways, what is the numerical value of the word Ben? Ben is made up of Bet, which is 2, and the Nun, which is 50. So it's 52, right? Ben is 52. How do you come to this? How do you make a Ben 52? What makes a child? You need a mom and a dad. And how do you say mom and dad in Hebrew? Well, a father is an Av. A father is an Av, Aleph Bet, that's an Av. And a mother is an M, Aleph Mem, that's a final Mem. So the father is the Aleph Bet, and the mother is the Aleph Mem. What is the numerical value of Av? 1 plus 2 is 3, right? 1 plus 2 is 3. We have 3. And a mother is 1 plus 40, 41. So you take 41. Plus 3, you get 44. Oh boy, I think I should get myself in trouble because of 3, M is 41. So 41 plus 3 is 44, right? Now, how do we get Ben? Ben is 52. Oh boy, I got myself in trouble. I was doing this too late at night. It's supposed to add up. Okay, the father and the mother together is supposed to equal son. don't know. I'm sorry, but basically in numerology, you have the son is equal to the mother and the father together. Maybe I'm, oh gosh, I'm to work this out, sharpen my pencil, and work it out for next time. But basically, this is how we're going to conclude today's lesson with a question about how Ben is a sum total of father and mother. There is a way we're going to use our math over here to sharpen our pencils to work out how father and mother equals child. Oh no, I know what it is. Sorry. It's not Ben. This the numerical value is Yeled. Yeled means child. So Yeled is made up of a Yud, a Lamed, and a Daled. Yud is 10, Lamed is 30, and Daled is 4. So 10 plus 30 plus 4 is 44. Yeled is child, which means son, daughter. Son and daughter is a child, just like in English. Son is Ben, daughter is Bat, but Yeled is child. So when you take Av and M together, 3 plus 41 equals 44, which is the numerical value of the word Yeled, which is 44. And that is how everything ties together in Hebrew. It's not a random language of mere consensus of a social consensus to say that child is what's born from a father and mother. In Hebrew, everything is very precise. It's very exact. And that's why, and we need an accountant, Marty, I see, but that is why the name for Yeled is exactly very precise. And this really ties to why we live in this core. What's the big deal? Why do we need to pray in Hebrew? Just pray in English and get it over with. Why isn't prayer just about like feeling an intimate connection with God? And the answer is that there's codes in the Hebrew. The Hebrew is precise. It's kind of like taking Shakespeare and just putting into Google Translate, right? And now saying, well, I understand what Shakespeare's talking about. You do understand what Shakespeare's talking about, but you've lost the richness. That's what this course is about. We're taking the Hebrew and we're understanding the original Hebrew, because when you do understand the original Hebrew, there's so much depth which is untranslatable. I mean, for example, you can't say that child in English is the equivalent of mom, father plus mother equals child. It doesn't even make any sense. In Av, M, father and mother equals Yeled, right? You see how things fit perfectly just right into place. And that's how I'm going to leave it today. I'd like to once again wish a very happy birthday to Mickey, our president, on the occasion of his birthday. Thank you for dedicating today's Torah study. Cookie, I believe, was the one who dedicated today's Torah study the next week. In honor of Mickey's birthday, we wish you a virtual l'chaim. Mickey, God bless you, a year of health and happiness. May the thousands of people, thousands of minutes of Torah study that happen through this medium on Facebook and YouTube, and as it lives on forever in YouTube and on Facebook, serve to bless you with a showering of blessings from heaven. May you continue to experience health, gesund, parnas, livelihood, and nachas, joy from your children, pleasure from your family and your community. If you'd like to dedicate a yahrzeit or a birthday or an anniversary for a day, a week, or a month of Torah study, then please call the office at 561-624-2223, or you can do it online at jewishgardens.com/donate. Thank you very much, everybody. Shalom, and have a wonderful day.